Hey everybody, today I've got a bit more of a sensitive video for you. So I hear a lot of YouTubers say how people don't choose to be trans. And for a good portion of the trans community, I feel like that is the case. There are a lot of people out there who feel like they were born completely wrong, or they were in the wrong body, or they hate the way that their body looks, like masculine or feminine or whatever the case may be. I believe that a decent portion of the trans community is like that. But I, in some cases, disagree with saying that as a general statement. And I am going to be nitpicking here a little bit. I'm not going to tell somebody how to talk about their trans experience. I'm not going to tell them hey, you can't say that or you can't say this. I'm not going to do that. What I am going to say is that there are a lot of people out there who have gender dysphoria to the point to where it would cause them to do some bad things to themselves if they didn't get on HRT to transition into the person who they need to be. It's an actual need, not a want. But I also feel like a portion of the trans community doesn't get talked about enough, and I'm a part of the trans community. And that is the people who actually, in a way, do choose to become trans. And what I mean by that is I chose to get on HRT to, get the breast, to get the hips, to get the feminine figure, the mental feminine changes, and all that kind of stuff. I had been feeling that ever since I was a kid, but I repressed it for so long. I lived 28 years of my life as a cis guy, so I learned how to live without it. And when I was presented with the option to become transgender, to transition, to get those changes that I wanted, I chose to go down that path. But I didn't take it lightly, because I did know that going down this path of transitioning would lead to a lot of hardships, of which I thought that I would be prepared for. However, I didn't expect the Orange Man to get into office and all the bad stuff that has happened since then to transpire. And I believe that some of us do choose to be trans. However, as a caveat, we don't choose to be hated on. We don't choose to have people attack us online, and for some people in person. We don't choose to have laws and executive orders levied on us and forced upon us. We don't choose to have these expectations forced on us to be one way or the other. We don't choose to have a much worse life. That is forced on us. No one in their right mind would choose any of that. Instead, I believe it's forced on us. For me, I chose to start transitioning before all this stuff happened. And I've had to face many times the possibility of detransitioning out of safety concerns or just out of fear in general. Because I went through so much stress and anxiety. I don't know how I bared it all. I don't know how I got through that. And I had to contemplate, could I live without HRT? Could I live as a cis guy again? I couldn't live as a cis guy again. I would never give up HRT because I chose to become my better self, and I don't want to give that up. I would fight like hell before I got off of HRT. I'm one of the people in the trans community who could live without HRT, but I choose to take it every day. But I know there's a lot of people out there who couldn't live without it, both physically and mentally. They couldn't live without it. So I count myself lucky in that regard, that if anything does happen, that I'll be in a better circumstance. But I would also feel horribly sad and hurt if anybody was forced to, not be their true selves. Me, I do these videos. I take HRT because I want to show the best version of myself. I want to live the best version of myself. I want to fight for people who want to transition, who want to become male, female, non-binary, or whatever, medically or even socially. I want to tell people that it's okay to be different, that we're not out here to hurt anybody. We're not out here to attack anybody. We're just living our own lives, trying to just live normally as ourselves. For me personally, I fight for bodily autonomy. I don't believe we should be held back by the medical system or the government to not become who we want to be, who we want to look like, and all that stuff. I don't believe we should be held back by that. I find it so wrong that there are so many barriers in place to keep us from becoming who we really want to be. The saying nobody chooses to be trans, I believe, is coming from a great place, but for me, it's not my truth. It's not who I am. Again, I'm nitpicking here. I'm allowed to. But what I would tell somebody who gets to know me is that I chose to be trans. I also chose not to live a lie. Because if I continued living as a cis guy, I would have been able to live as a cis guy, but I would always have in the back of my head, like, dang, I could have done that. Dang, I could have been who I wanted to be. I would have had regrets. I would have seen other people transitioning around me and me being jealous that they're living the best version of them. And then there's a lot of other people who they just innately need to transition because it's such a strong thing inside of them that they have to. But definitely nobody chooses to be hated on. Nobody chooses to have what feels like half the world bearing down on their shoulders. Nobody chooses that. I hope that I got my message across. Again, I'm just nitpicking in this video. If you want to say people don't choose to be trans, I still believe that's an okay thing to say. I just would like to see more people saying we don't choose to be hated on. We don't choose to have all this hate put on us. We chose to be who we needed to be and who we wanted to be. In my case, who I wanted to be. Again, nitpicking. It's okay. But I hope that I also make people who are like me in this portion of the trans community feel heard, because I don't hear this side of the story that much. I don't hear people who are like me that often at all, who transition to just become who they want to be. We're starting to see more and more of it, but I just don't see enough of it. That's why I'm doing these videos, to represent the portion of the trans community that I'm in, because we're out here and we're living our lives and we deserve to be heard. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. You know what time it is. Oh, blum, blum, blum. Did you take a shower today?